Northern California. This is News 10 at 6.
We're continuing to follow breaking news near Sunny Valley of a grass fire burning off Interstate 5. Good evening. I'm Trish Close.
And I'm Brian Schnee. Thank you for joining us. This fire has grown since we first reported it at 5 o'clock. Multiple agencies are responding to that fire in northern Josephine County right now. That's where we find News 10's Genevieve Fong, who is there live. What can you tell us tonight?
That's right, guys. Officials are calling this the I-5 milepost 70 fire. That's because of where it's located right now along the highway. Now, right now, there are two fires. Let's take a look right now. There's a main fire that's 3 to 5 acres, and that's continuing to grow from the Oregon Department of Forestry, who tells me that. Now, in addition to that main fire, we also do have a spot fire that came from the debris and the wind also. Then that came from the wind and debris that came and picked up. Now, ODF just told me just a few moments ago that the main fire is now completely lined, and they're working to contain that and also working to line that spot fire as well. Now, just for some context, this is all happening about 6 miles south of Wolf Creek, right around the Sexton Summit. Now, we do have ODF, Oregon State Police, and the Oregon Department of Transportation all on scene working as a team really together to take this down. Now, there are some impacts to traffic as the northbound slow lane is closed just an hour ago, but traffic is moving pretty fast. No, not too heavy around here in this area, but the Oregon Department of Transportation does say that it will remain closed for several hours. Now, with that being said, and all of the crews on scene here on the highway, officials are asking everyone to be mindful about the traffic that's moving through and all of these emergency responders here stationed along the side. As always, this is a developing story. We'll continue to update you with any updates that we do have. Check out our website at ktvl.com for the latest information. Trish, Brian, back to you guys.
All right, Genevieve, thank you. You could hear some air traffic out there, so we can assume that there's a helicopter out there helping crews on the ground.
They confirmed 2 helicopters are working on those fires. As we now know, there are 2 of them, one of them being a spot fire and one the original fire. Again, the cause right now still under investigation. It is quite early. There are a lot of crews still out there working the scene. The video you're seeing now is from just at the beginning portion of this fire. You can see ODOT to the right actually setting up the one lane that they're going to close off before those crews are up there right now. So we will continue to bring you a couple updates on this one as it goes throughout the night.
Once again, the northbound slow lane of Interstate 5 is temporarily closed. As Genevieve mentioned, it could be closed for several hours tonight as crews work to get this fire contained. Once again, 2 fires. There's a main one, 3 to 5 acres. That one is lined. That second fire, as Genevieve mentioned, was started by debris and wind. So let's talk about current conditions right now. As we know, Mother Nature always plays a role in these fires. Low relative humidity levels this time of year, especially in the late afternoon, increase fire danger.
News 10 Chief Meteorologist Milt Radford is here with a quick look at your first alert forecast.
That's right. We have some pretty dry conditions out there, high pressure building in with some clear skies. There's several factors that can go into these fires. A little bit of good news, especially on the east side today. No thunderstorms being reported like we had the past couple of days. We also see relatively light winds at most inland locations, a little bit brisker out toward the coast. And of course, those can be a problem with wildfires. Here's one of the main things, though. By late afternoon, that is often the highest areas, the driest conditions, I should say, over the area with the lowest relative humidity numbers, generally in the 30 and 40% range. By late at night, these come up a little bit, and that helps. But again, this time of year, very dry out there for most of the area. We're looking at temperatures right now that are also not contributing any, helping with fighting fires. 90 degrees in Medford. We have 91 in Wairika. Actually, a little bit of rain falling out toward Brookings at the moment. Low temperatures tonight dropping down into the upper 40s and 50s across our region. We'll actually see some slightly warmer weather in our area tomorrow. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at your full weekend forecast.
Thank you, Milt. With fire season here, Pacific Power hoping a new policy will prevent wildfires started from power lines.
We continue our team coverage tonight with News 10's Marissa O'Lead, who's live in our news center with what some are saying about the new plan. Marissa?
That's right. With fire season being declared in Jackson and Josephine County and now Klamath and Lake counties, Pacific Power is stepping in to help protect communities. This means adjustments for some. After the Hugo Road fire that happened last year due to a tree falling on a power line, Pacific Power has implemented safety measures to help reduce wildfire risks. They are enhancing vegetation inspections and clearance around power lines or power poles, along with increasing facilities inspections and training and equipping field crews.
We've always been really diligent about going out and make sure we're clearing the areas around the lines to kind of do preventative work. But what we're doing is we're actually expanding that, and so our customers will start to see even more of a larger presence of our vegetation management groups out.
For areas of higher risks of wildfire, Pacific Power has created a new measure called Public Safety Power Shutoff. This measure is to help keep communities in high-risk areas safe by shutting off power during extreme and dangerous conditions.
With respect to public safety power shutoffs, that would absolutely be a last resort for us.
If this action must be taken, not only will it impact homeowners, but also businesses like the Little Pantry in Merlin.
I've stayed open with power out before, trying to, do everything by hand, but it probably would affect us, yes.
Before any action is taken, Pacific Power will alert residents in high-risk areas.
We are looking at identifying areas that might have added potential risks just based on, wind speed and some other things. So there will be some zones located within Jackson and Josephine County.
Pacific Power is working with local governments and emergency services agencies to update them on the conditions of when this protocol would need to be used and seek their input on coordination. If Pacific Power absolutely needs to shut off power, there are some steps residents could take to prepare. Have a charged cell phone with phone numbers for emergencies, carry a flashlight, and shut off all major appliances with heat appliances as well. With your connection to fire season, Marisa Olid, News 10.
Pacific Power is launching a public outreach campaign to get the word out on the new Public Safety Power Shutoff program. That starts June 24th.
Washington man accused of stabbing another man to death yesterday at a Fred Meyer in Grants Pass faced a judge for the first time today. Rolando Rivas Jr. faces murder and meth possession charges in Josephine County. The victim is identified as Andre Revy. According to court documents, the two were traveling together before Rivas pulled a knife on the victim. Rivas reportedly told detectives he became paranoid that the victim was going to harm him in his sleep. Logos Charter School in Medford, representing all of Oregon in the North American Envirothon competition. 5 Logos students, known as the Rogue Pack, won the Oregon State Envirothon competition in May and will go on to Raleigh, North Carolina in July. Competition lasts 2 weeks and challenges science students in core subjects of forestry, wildlife, aquatics, soils, and land use. In order to attend this year, the team needs $10,000 to accommodate 2 chaperones and 5 students for 2 weeks. They're raising money through odd jobs, raffle tickets, even a GoFundMe online donation. Logos Director of Science Christopher Van Ness says representing Oregon is a really big deal.
That competition is the largest environmental science competition in North America. It sees over 500,000 participants throughout the year, and it usually dwindles down to about 52 teams from provinces in Canada, United States, and even a couple teams from China.
Van Ness said this is the 3rd time in the past 5 years his Rogue team has won the Oregon State competition, winning in 2015 through 2017 and 2019. If you wish to help in funding the Rogue Pack's travel, be sure to visit GoFundMe or by contacting the Logos Charter School.
We're in for a stretch of some sunny weather here.
And Jackie Lebrecht reports on how to protect yourself from sun damage.
Doctors certainly recommend sunglasses, protect those eyes, and also a minimum SPF of 30. I have 70, but always want to err on the side of caution. This is just one tool, though. You want to really cover that skin as much as you can. Wear your hat. It's all part of your skin protection plan.
A sunburn is really a burn. It's not different functionally from sticking your hand in boiling water. So we'll see everything from just red and pain up to blistering.
Dr. Ben Hoffman's a pediatrician at Dornbecker Children's Hospital.
The biggest mistake that most families and caregivers will make is they don't reapply. Sunscreen, no matter whether you're in the pool or the water or just running around, is only going to work for around 60 to 90 minutes. So reapplying every hour, hour and a half.
But which sunscreen should you apply? The American Academy of Pediatrics says parents may want to consider using sunscreen that does not contain oxybenzone. There's evidence it's absorbed through the skin, and FDA scientists don't yet know what level is safe, if at all.
I would urge parents just to look into it a little bit to find something that they're comfortable with. There's no right, there's no wrong. We just know that sunburn is a bad thing for kids.
Researchers say even one bad burn is linked with a higher risk for skin cancer later in life. So the bottom line is lather up.
Class of 2019 for Southern Oregon University walks across the stage tomorrow morning. SOU estimates between 4,000 and 5,000 people will be attending. Parking services say they have been preparing for this day all year long and have high hopes it will go smoothly.
We've contracted with a local company to provide shuttles, buses to shuttle people back and forth, and that usually helps alleviate a lot of the street parking because we're in a city campus.
Along with the shuttles, SOU will have multiple parking lots open and turn some streets such as Whiteman Street into one-ways. Commencement ceremony takes place in the SOU Raider Stadium at 9 a.m. and graduates, congratulations.
Still ahead tonight on News 10 at 6, people across the U.S. get their news through social media. You know what? Sometimes we do too. Coming up, Congress looking into new rules to regulate social media. Milt?
Well, some severe thunderstorms are likely to move across the Midwest over the course of this weekend. Back in our area, though, our forecast is dry and warm, but we do have some cooler weather by next week.
Presented by Builders Bargain Center. Discount building materials and everyday bargain prices.
Many Americans get news and information from social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, and Google.
But with recent data breaches, Congress is looking into new rules that would regulate these companies and the information they collect from their users.
In this week's Pulse of America, Rochelle Spence takes us to Flint, Michigan, and asks folks whether new privacy rules are needed.
68 miles northwest of Detroit is a place nicknamed Vehicle City. Those words proudly on display above the downtown bricks.
If anybody ever considered taking the bricks out of Flint, no way. The bricks must stay.
General Motors was founded here in 1908, and Flint quickly became an automotive manufacturing powerhouse. But more than 100 years later, many of those jobs have left. And now Flint is known around the country for its contaminated water.
I am angry about the water.
Still recovering, some here admit they have trust issues, especially when it comes to local and national government. So when asked their opinions on if the government should regulate big companies like Facebook, Google, and Twitter, there was hesitation.
Ooh. Actually, I do. I'm not usually in favor of government taking over and getting into our personal business. But I think that there has been so much misuse that something has to be done about it.
Boutique wine shop owner Maria Carlin says her concerns are privacy and hateful content.
It bothers me personally a tremendous amount.
Dante Ernest disagrees, adamant the government shouldn't step in.
No, I don't, because I think that'll take away the free speech.
Big companies hardly ever call for more regulation, but after recent data breaches and live stream shootings, Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg says he's open to the idea.
Maybe he's just tired right now.
The traditional and the caramel pecan.
What people aren't tired of are these cinnamon rolls at the farmer's market, served up by Bobby Curry.
Facebook, Twitter, leave them alone. It's a great way for me to communicate with my friends, my family, to see what's going on in people's lives. I don't think the government needs to interfere.
Much like the downtown bricks, this debate over government regulation is a bumpy ride. In Flint, Rochelle Spence for Pulse of America.
ScottRasmussen.com poll found that 67% of voters think Amazon has been good for the country, while 8% believe it's bad. Google came in with similar numbers, with 60% saying it's been good for the United States, while 8% believe the opposite. Social media giant Facebook is struggling in comparison.
I think that's because of a lot of the news stories that have come out about privacy breaches and some other things. So right now, only 31% of voters believe that Facebook has been good for the country. That's down from 45% last fall.
Just over half of voters say Facebook will be out of business within a generation.
Now, First Alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Milt Radford.
Dry conditions across our entire area today, and that is likely to continue for several more days. We have a strong ridge of high pressure building in over the region, and with that, we'll continue to see some pretty dry weather, not just tomorrow, but beyond that through the weekend and for most of next week. At the very least, we've got a little bit of rain out toward the coast today, but overall, we've had no thunderstorms to speak of. Temperatures have been right into the upper 80s and low 90s for many locations locations today. Got up to 93 in both Wairika and in Fort Jones. We had 91 in Cave Junction and Medford, and some 80s east of the Cascades. Here's a look at what we can expect for tomorrow. Ridge again over our area, bringing lots of warm air into the region, and we'll see temperatures that will continue to be about 10 degrees warmer than average for this time of year, but it's a lot better than those triple digits we had earlier in the week. As we take a look at some of the numbers for tomorrow, we're expecting some low 90s out for parts of southwest Oregon. Other places will likely stay in the 80s. We'll generally see 60s at most coastal locations, although we are looking at a high of about 72 degrees in Brookings. For Northern California, most of the temperatures tomorrow will make it into the 90s, at least low 90s in and around the Shasta Valley. Only about 87 though in Weed, and pretty close to 100 degrees tomorrow in Happy Camp. East of the Cascades for Klamath and Lake counties, we'll mainly see some low to mid 80s for highs. Fairly warm in Klamath Falls, 87. We'll see some 80s on the west side in the valleys as well, about 89 in Ashland, but we are expecting a high tomorrow, a couple of degrees warmer in Medford. We're looking at about 94 degrees. The 7-day forecast that we have for the coast, we'll see a little bit of fog the next couple of mornings. That's been an issue recently, and with that, temperatures will still warm up a lot because we do expect that to burn off and have lots of sunshine in the afternoon. We'll be in the 70s for the next week ahead. Again, that's about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than average for this time of year. Over Northern California, we have some temperatures that will be in the 90s for the next little bit, and continuing to stay right in that area. And probably be about Thursday, Friday, we start to see temperatures drop back down into the 80s for highs, getting at least closer to the averages that we have for this time of year. In the Klamath Basin, 80s also all the way through Wednesday. Lots of sunshine in that forecast next week. We have a few passing clouds over the weekend, but nothing that will really impact the temperatures. Rogue Valley, a few of those clouds also, but we're looking at highs staying in the low 90s all the way through Wednesday before we get back down into the 80s. Average high in Medford this time of year, 81 degrees. So, of course, concerns about that grass fire out there. And you've got the elements this time of year. Luckily, we don't have the winds or the thunderstorms today, but we do have those low relative humidity levels.
I was just going to say, anytime we hear a fire starting up in the afternoon, we all kind of tense up because that's when those winds seem to get really gusty.
They gust in the afternoon. You're at usually at your lowest relative humidity level also. Everything kind of conspires in late afternoon.
All right. Thank you, Milt. State 5 near Sunny Valley.
News 10's Genevieve Fong is live near the scene with an update from Oregon Department of Forestry.
That's right, guys. Crews are still working to take down the I-5 milepost 70 fire here right now along the highway. Now, the Oregon Department of Forestry says it was 3 to 5 acres big before they were able to line the fire around. There were 2 fires, a main fire that was climbing up the side of the hill, and also a spot fire that started with the debris and the wind picking up and spreading it towards the right. Now, right now, I'm here with Natalie Weber from the Oregon Department of Forestry. Natalie, what kind of updates can you give us along the fire?
So right now, like you said, it is 3 to 5 acres. We're working to just clean up the hot spots. As you can see, it's still a little bit smoky back there, as well as just start the mop-up process. We're in that phase, and we're going to continue to just really work hard on it to make sure it doesn't spread. We've had the wind, and that hasn't been a good factor for us. Along with that uphill slope, it really helped the fire spread.
What can you say about the size, the spread of the fire this early onto fire season?
You know, we've had hot temperatures this week, and mixed with the wind, it's just a bad combination. As you can see along this hill, we have some dried out grass. That is another factor. We have our fuels that are drying out. So with those 3 things, it was just a recipe.
So people driving by the area, what they should be aware of with these emergency crews on scene?
So right now, ODOT has the freeway on the northbound side blocked off to just 1 lane, and they're going to continue to keep it that way until things are under control here and crews are able to move out.
And lastly, just fire season safety tips for our viewers back home. What can you want to remind them of maybe?
yeah, just be careful. You know, we're getting to that point in the season where it's starting to warm up. We have the winds, we have the hot temperature. Just be careful, and if you see something, please report it.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for all the info and all your help today. Like you said, crews are going to stay here as long as it takes to really knock down this fire. Be aware of traffic. Right now, there is still only one lane open on the northbound of I-5 moving north, so be aware of that. And that's all the information that we have right now. Check out our website, ktvl.com, for any of the latest updates. With your connection, Genevieve Fong, News 10.
Genevieve, thank you. Some very good information from ODF on this fire. Again, 2 fires. The main one has been lined, but we do want to stress anytime crews are working on a wildfire, they want you to stay out of the area. A slow lane on I-5 has been closed. If you don't have to head that way, don't.
And of course, we'll have updates on this, as Genevieve mentioned, ktvl.com. We'll be right back with more News 10 at 6.
Phone app and get your News 10 on the go. Presented by Hall Motor Company. Always home of the Hall Pass.
Father's Day weekend, beautiful out there. Maybe enjoy a little fishing.
I recommend
weather.
a mug.
If
you need a gift.
Not a mug, but how about a beautiful stream and fishing on the stream?
Love it.
Just don't do anything dumb with fire.
Please.
So,
yeah. Solid PSA there.
I was just going to say that. Thanks for watching News 10 at 6. In between our newscast, head to ktvl.com.
Of course, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter for news and weather updates throughout the day. We're back tonight at 11 o'clock. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is next.